Good afternoon, everybody. The novel written by Julian Barnes, on which we will have today the introductory presentation by group of students, semester 4 students, is titled as The Only Story, written by Julian Barnes. This novel, The Only Story, was written in 2018. Julian Barnes is a Booker Prize winning author. This novel is deeply reflective and poignant narrative that explores the complexities of love, memory, and the shaping of a life. It is narrated by Paul Roberts, who is in his 70s, late 60s or 70s, and who is telling a story of his first love, when he passionately fall in love when he was 19 years of age with a rather elderly woman, Suzanne MacLeod. Paul Roberts is our narrator and is telling us a story about his first love when he was in teen age with Suzanne MacLeod, a woman who was nearly 35 years of age, or senior, 35 years senior. The novel traces the origins, intensity, dissolution, and lasting impact of their relationship. As Paul looks back, it's a memory narrative. He looks back decades later on his only story. Barnes intricately interweaves themes of devotion, regret, self deception, and the unreliability of memory. Postmodernist narratives are too much bent on this unreliable narrator. Here we can see that that happens because the memory itself is unreliable, and it invites readers to consider how our personal narratives are constructed and reconstructed over time. Okay? So let us have an introduction to this novel by a group of students. The group who is going to make a presentation is consisting of 8 students: Rajdeep, Parthiv, Jai, Sagar, Bhumi, Krupali, Smriti, and Tanvi. So let us start with the introductory presentation. Yes, you can start now.
So hello everyone, my name is Jay Waghani, and today my team members and I will going to demonstrate The Only Story by Julian Barnes. So this novel is explores love, exile, and impact of one relationship on human life. So here are academic and presentation details, table of contents. So here is an introduction to The Only Story. So initially, The Only Story concerns the pained recollections of aging Englishman who is a okay, sorry. So the only story concerns the pained recollections of an engaging Englishman's life-changing only love. Uh, here are some lines. Would you rather love the more and suffer the more, or love the less and suffer the less? That is, I think, finally the only real question. So this story is frames narrator's lifelong struggle. He recognized that this failed relationship is central to his identity, the only story that really matters about him. And here are shifting narratives, which is shows us the struggle of a narrator uh, uh, with his past. Here are key facts about the novel. So, full title is The Only Story by Julian Barnes. It's novel and literary fiction, written in 2010 and published in 2018. And it was about postmodern concerns as well as contemporary moralities. Protagonist is Paul and antagonist is Gordon. Here are shifting point of view, and setting is early 1916, and in the village an outer London stockbroker belt enclave. Here is the author and text. So, Julian Barnes, educated from Oxford and known for intellectual fiction, philosophical depth, postmodern experimentation, and his major works, The Sense of the Ending, Flaubert's Parrot, and he was also awarded Man Booker Prize. Barnes writes as a critic and a novelist of fiction, often dialogues with the critical and philosophical tradition. In the only story, Barnes revisits the theme of regret, responsibility, and the ethics of memory. Here is historical and cultural background. So it is from 1960s post-war Britain, and at that time there was a change in culture, and in novel this the sexual revolution creates a social backdrop for the story. Setting reflects suburban complacency, uh, Puro dwellers, and stockbreaker belt conformity. So there are shifting views on marriage, divorce, class, and gender shapes character choices and social pressure. This novel is engages contemporary anxieties about intimacy, duty, and changing social freedoms. Authorial background. So, as I discussed before, that he was a study from Oxford. However, he learned modern languages at Mugland College, uh, and earlier career as a reviewer and translator. He influences including French literature, modernist and postmodernist thinkers, and literary criticism. Major thematic concerns such as memory, history, identity, remorse, and the ethics of the storytelling. So, Barnes' style is economical sentences, ironic distance, and motives the reappears across his fiction. So here is my learning outcome. So initially I was surprised by how sharply Barnes links love to mourning. The novel made the grief feel ethically serious rather than merely pathological. So as well as I now sees the narrator's age and voices as a deliberate tools that converts personal history into ethical inquiry. Along with, I felt stronger empathy for character bounded by social rituals, context matters to characters' choices. And a key change, I moved from thinking of the novel as a love story to reading it as a study of responsibility and memory. You will also going to know about it when this story comes to his eventual part. So this was from my side. Now I would like to invite Tanvi Mehra for further information.
Hello everyone, I'm Tanvi. I'm dealing with important character of the story, the only story by Julian Barnes. Important characters overview. The Only Story is the character-centered novel by Julian Barnes. Paul Roberts is the central consciousness, while other characters shape his emotional and moral journey. Each character represents different attitudes toward love, responsibility, and consciousness. Then protagonist analysis. Paul Roberts is the narrator and protagonist of the story. He begins as a young absolutist idealist who believes love justifies all suffering. With age, he becomes a reflective elder reassessing his past through memory. Paul is an unreliable narrator as memory reshapes experience. Memory sorts and shifts according to the demands made on it by the rememberer. His guiding belief: love the more and suffer the more. The narrative shift from I to you to he shows emotional withdrawal, self judgment, and guilt. Paul's failure lies in his passivity. He loves Susan but cannot protect her. Then Susan MacLeod, the love object. Susan is 30 years older than Paul. Initially, she appears charismatic, confident, and free spirited. Gradually, her past trauma is revealed. Childhood sexually abuse deeply shape her behavior. Her marriage to Gordon and unresolved trauma lead to alcoholism, emotional collapse. Susan embodies the Barnes idea that love becomes destructive. Every love is a real disaster once you give yourself over to it entirely. Her decline ends in illness, dementia, and loss of autonomy. Paul's deepest regret is his inability to save or protect her. Then secondary characters and foils. Uh, s- uh, uh, Gordon MacLeod, he's Susan's husband, and he is violent, controlling, and patriarchal. He represents the oppressive nature of conventional marriage. Then John, Paul's later partner, values emotional balance and routine and stability. He acts as a foil to Paul's obsession of love for Susan. Then Martha and Clara, both are Susan's daughters, represent the long term domestic and generational consequences of Susan's suffering. Then minor characters, uh, John, Gordon MacLeod, Martha, Clara, Uncle Hump, Paul's parents, neighbors, doctors, and hospital staff. They all are minor characters, and their functions include social pressure and moral caution, violence and control. Then institutional care replacing emotional care, and narrative role, trigger major events, provide ethical and social contrast to Paul and Susan. Then my learning outcomes, experiencing the plot are made me feel the live weight of caregiving. Initially abstract themes become visceral and urgent. I notice my assumptions about heroic love were challenged. Living can be self preservation and moral feral simultaneously. I now attend more closely to how memory reshape events. Distrust linear retelling and favor narrators who admit subjectivity, personal implication. I will be more cautious in judging caregiving situations and will seek fuller context before forming moral conclusion. So this was from my side. Now I would like to invite Bhumi for further information.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today I'm dealing with the plot overview. So first, the story begins with the beautiful quote that would you rather love the more or suffer the more, or love the less or suffer the less? That is, I think, finally a real only questions. And this story about all we have the only story about past or everything, but only story is a love story. And here we can find the how a love story portrayed by Julian Barnes. And here we can find the love story between the young boy and young girl, male or female. But here we can find that love story between the Paul Robert, he's a young boy, and his relationship with the Susan MacLeod. Here we can find the love story between the young boy and a old woman. So first, an old woman, Susan MacLeod's, as Tanvi mentioned, that Susan had two girls, Clara and Martha. So Paul Roberts met Susan MacLeod at the tennis club when he is a 19th. and she is a much older. They are randomly paired for a mixed doubles tournament and encounter Paul later reads as a destiny. So after the affairs become a scandal in the village, and Susan chose to leave her husband using a running away fund to create a new life with a Paul. So after the relation attraction with both sides, like a Paul Roberts and Susan in the relationship, so Susan easily ready, or we can say choose to leave her husband and create a new life with the Paul Robert. They move to Henry Road, SE15, London. The couple renovates a house and Paul starts his studies while the romance depends practically and emotionally. Early passion gives way to the slow emergence of domestic responsibilities and the first sign of strain. Then by the time as a Susan sings, Susan has become the depression and starting heavily drinking heavily, and here is the Julian Barnes also show that how dark and different situations becomes. And in that case, Paul also want to help her, but he does not know that how to deal with her problems and everything. And then Susan's mental and physical health issues and uh, uh, health issue, she also forgot everything and behavior like unpredictably. Paul becomes a caretaker in a place of lover. So slowly and steadily, Paul's become a caretaker and managing everything and worry about her Susan and everything. And youthful rather than romance and everything, he had a lot of responsibilities and everything. The burden of care produce guilt and a sense of failure that will shape Paul's later life and retrospective judgment. And the relationship between the Susan and Paul, then Susan is a worse depressions and starting the alcoholism and illness and everything. Then Paul eventually hands her back to family care and leaves to rebuild a life, a move he described with complex remorse and relief. So by the time eventually Paul decided to leave the Susan and her family and places and everything, and he want to make or create their own life and rebuild a life. Things once gone can't be put back. He knew that now. A punch once delivered can't be withdrawn. Words once spoken can't be unsaid. So this line suggests that anything once gone and anything once happened, it's not come back. Like things once gone wrong that can't be put back, and anything we hit or the violence we can do that once delivered, it can't be withdrawal. And that's what we say, it's very hurtful or anything, so it's also can't be unsaid. After separation, Paul pursue a career and later relationship, but the memory of Susan remains the central referent of his life. Here we can find that when Paul creates his wants to create or rebuild his life, there was also Paul has another relationship, but that time also Paul have a strong memory or he remember his past or time spent with Susan. Susan remains his life. Then narration is a retrospective. The only story concerned the pain recollection of an aging Englishman's life, changing only love. So in the third part, we can find that in this story there is a third part, first part, second part, and third part, and each part narrated first person, second person, and third person. So in that time, this third part, Paul is old age, and he describe what is love and everything, and he also remember his past or a relationship with the Susan. Then Paul repeatedly insists that I'm remembering the past, not reconstructing it. I'm not trying to spin you a story. I'm trying to tell you the truth. The novel's plot is presented as a fragmented memory rather than linear realism. Episodes are reordered by emotional weight, not chronology. Most of us have only one story to tell, only one finally worth telling. So, as we can find that everyone has a one story, and it is the love story. Okay, here my personal learning outcome. The three-part structure changed my sense of temporal truth from can itself be argument, not more ornaments. I felt new curiosity about narrative reliability and the reader's role in judging testimony. From that novel, I learned that past always matters a lot. Whenever we come to know that whether it is a love story or what kind, that is the thing. But memories always matters a lot, whether it is a good memory or bad memory. If there is a good memory, we continuously feeling nostalgia, and if there is a bad story, so we felt the pain and trauma and depression and everything. But in that novel we can find that how Paul wants to rebuild his life, but by the time he continuously miss his past and the relationship with Susan and everything. And he conveyed the message that the time I spent with Susan is that is the important part of my life. So we can also face that kind of thing, that past always matters. And we can say that no matter third person comes and everything is destroyed, and it's not like that. But past always matter and memories never fades. So yes, this is from my side. Now I would like to invite Krupali Bela.
Hello everyone, myself Krupali Bela. I'm dealing with the narrative structure of the novel. So narrative structure, three-part division. So in this novel, there is no title to any section or any part, but it divided as first part, second part, and third part. So in part one, passion and idealism. So young Paul's exhilaration, the thrill of transgression, and the initial conviction that love redeems risk. So in part one, Paul is a young, as Bhumi mentioned, he's a 19-year-old boy. So at that time, he is very desirable for love, passionate, and his idealism is shown in this first part. So it captures the headlong desire, passion, justifies defiance of social norms. In part two, care, decline, and guilt. So Susan's worsening condition, Paul's transition to caregiver, and moral weight of his indicacy. So in part two, this Susan is going not as much well. So it show breakdown of romance into responsibility, emotional toll of nursing into oblivion. In part three, retrospection and judgment. Again, aging Paul reviews his life, applies moral test, and moves towards third person distance. The trajectory moving from optimistic memory to pessimistic one. Then narrative perspective, shifting voice. So for the whole novel is in all three parts. The first part is narrated in first person narrative, second part in second person narrative, and third part is in third person narrative. So first person, so intimate confession and immediate feelings. The younger I narrates the desire and impulsive act. So this first person narrative is narrate the Paul's own desire and his all feelings and emotions. In the second part, a direct self interrogation where Paul addresses his younger self as you. Interrogation, interrogation, choice, and motives. In third part, this dialogues in the novels. So nowadays, the recklessness of the first person within him was stilled. He viewed and lived his life in the third person. So it objectifies younger Paul and enable a retrospective analysis with aesthetic distance. The grammatical retreat from first person, second person, and third person, I, you, and he, models emotional withdrawal and fragmentation of memory. Then unreliable narrator. So Paul's memory is reshaped by time, guilt, and trauma. He admits memory selectivity, memory sort and shift according to the demands made on it by the remember. I am remembering the past, not reconstructing it. Assertion of felt truth or factual completeness. Reader must question what is remembered and what is justified. The narrator is a vaster teller with motives and blind spots. So this vaster teller means this story is told by telling by this Paul's his own narration in first person we find. So sometimes he has a feeling for he has feeling for this lady characters and subjective truth versus objective reality. The novel stages the limits of confusion and the impossibility of full redemption through the narration. Here is my learning outcome that the book tone is device made me emotionally uncomfortable in productive ways. I accepted ambiguity and rather than seeking resolution. I learned to value concise, reflective prose as a way to intensify rather than blunt feeling. Authoritarian intrusion and direct address create reader complicity. I felt personally implicated in Paul's judgment. Going forward, I will use stylistic features as a primary analytic category, not just a plot points. So for further, I would like to invite Sagar Bokuri.
Thank you, Krupali. Today I'm dealing with narrative device and tone. In a philosophy commentary, Barnes interpret the story with a reflective meditation on love, suffering, and ethics. Narrative often read as an essayistic reflection, direct address the author, authorial instruction. The narrator speaks to the readers and to himself, collapsing private thought into public convention. Brooding reflective tone and spear, controlled prose that balance emotional intensity with ironic distance. Barnes' narrators scavenge his memory and probes the scar tissues of got the right heart in a way that's frequently painful to read. Style device as a thematic tools. Use of crossword as a symbol. Attempt to reduce chaos to solvable grids. Character use a puzzle to impose order on suffering. Intertextual reference and the semantic metaphor expose the difference between a cultural script and a messy reality. Repetition and motives. Love as a suffering and memory as a survival. Range for thematic unity across the structural shift. In Julian Barnes' narrative pattern, it's same. He is telling a story for the sake of a philosophy rather than the other way around. Thematic overview. Novel starting in also expands the theme of love and suffer. And major theme is love, suffering, memory, responsibility, and ethic of narration shaped novel argument and emotional architecture. Narrative technique and symbol motifs are shifting perspective, fragmented memory, crossword, and the tennis repeatedly dramatize moral cost. And thematic outcome is ethical ambiguity rather than a consolation. Character remains morally implicated and emotionally vulnerable. And my learning outcome is I experience surprise and sadness at how love transformation into burden is often a gradual and social mediated. And the critique of marriage sharpened my awareness of institutional pressure on intimacy and the hidden cost of respectability. And the practical change is I will frame the seminar question that balance romantic idealism with institutional critique. Now I would like to invite Parthiv Solanki for the analyze theme.
So I deal with the major theme, love and suffering. Julian Barnes represent the love is the not only a beauty thing and emotion, but is the give a responsibility and the pressure of the mind. And always the true love, true emotion is the not consciously is the true, but is the end of this responsibility and give a capacity of the in the connection of the life. In the love as the pain, suffering is the after the all the Latin root of the patience. Love is the bind of desire and the inevitable hurts and emotional absolution, total devotion in the concert the ordinary choices into the moral extreme collapse announced into the sacrifices. In my opinion, is in the every love happy or the unhappy is the real desire one of you have the give yourself over the to it is the entirely love is the moral extreme the lover's duty imperial limitation limited making the care and the self persuasion the incompletable at the point love's transformation, passion to the burden, passion, pity, anger, and hesitation, emotional compress the romantic into the caretaking and then into the bitter fight and the love even the most under the and the most sins can the cradle into the exture of the pity and the anger love lost the romance and the against the under practical dream medical regimes and the constant vigilance replace erotic freedom and the nothing ever the end you will always be walking wondered that the only choice after the while walking would the or dead. Second is the critique of the marriage. Marriage is the does canal in which the complicity lives in the mirrors as the social performances and the product and the passion and the invite of the secrecy. Barnes also this uses the metaphor for the loves. Is the love is the not always the is the simple things emotional attention, the material rotation, and the class conformity produces the building or the feeling that the push the character toward the eclipse escapes. The violence reception manifests the Gordon McLohan but betrayal and the social concealment and the domestic harms. Marriage is the not only the private failure but is the social instrument uh, that can the punish the transition and the silence victims. My learning outcome, confronting the existential absurdism and make me the reflect on the meaning making it fit the both the ulti unsettled and the intelligence limited and the debate about the agency and led me to consider the responsibility as the rational rather than the solely individuals and memory as them promoted as the methodological shifting rather than the narrative testimony and shaped by my trauma not natural records a symbol and the motive the class word tension feeling and dream become a lessness for the consisting micro senses to the micro ethics. So I would like to invite Smruti for the further analysis.
So, hello everyone. Thank you, Parthiv bhai, for inviting me. And today I'm dealing with major themes, symbols, and motifs of the novel. So, major theme existential absurdism. So, Barnes represents suffering and lacking any clear purpose or moral reward in the novel. Uh, Pain in the novel does not lead to growth or redemption. It simply exists and reinforcing the idea of existential absurdity. The metaphor of the captain of the steamer versus a bump on a log questions human control, and characters fluctuate between believing they shape their lives and realizing how much is governed by chance and circumstances. The emotional estrangement is reflected through the shift in the narration from I to you to he, and this distancing helps the narrator cope with pain but also fragments meaning and moral certainty. So, overall, the novel reflects a postmodern sensibility by rejecting clear moral conclusions, and ambiguity and irony dominate, and readers are left with unresolved ethical tensions in their mind. Choice, free will, and responsibility. So, the recurring metaphor of captain versus bump highlights the tension between agency and passivity. Paul's life is judged by whether he actively chose or simply drifted with the events. Barnes exposes the illusion of control through symbols like crosswords and careful planning. This suggests that life can be solved logically, but real relationships resist such order. Moral responsibility in the novel results in guilt rather than regret, and Paul's choices to stay, to leave, or to hand care to others continue to trouble him long after they are made. The chain of responsibility in the novel suggests that ethical life is relational, and individuals are connected, and responsibility can weaken or break under emotional and moral pressures. Memory as a theme, and the only story as a memory novel. So, memory in the only story is selective and shaped by emotional needs rather than objective truth. The narrator openly admits that memory sorts and shifts, as Barnes mentions that memory sorts and shifts according to the demands made on it by the rememberer. The claim that I am remembering the past and not reconstructing it highlights the tension between subjective truth and factual accuracy, and emotional honesty is prioritized over completeness. So, and the trauma significantly affects the recollection. Painful events are blurred and exaggerated or omitted as a form of psychological survival. Barnes also contrasts the personal memory with collective history, suggesting that the truth emerges where flawed memories meets inadequate documentation. Symbol and motifs. The first is a crossword puzzle. Clearly, this supposedly harmless pastime was the desire to reduce the chaos of the universe to a small, comprehensible grid. So, the crossword puzzle symbolizes the desire to impose order on chaos. It offers clear answers and control in contrast to life's uncertainty. Second is tennis, especially the mixed doubles match represents the chance operating within social rituals. Random pairing leads to life-changing consequences. The recurring dream of Suzanne falling symbolizes the emotional interdependence, and Paul is bound to Suzanne's fate but powerless to prevent her collapse. Alcohol and crosswords. It functions as contrasting coping mechanisms, and alcohol numbs the pain, while crosswords provide structured comfort and intellectual safety to the characters. My personal learning outcome. Uh, uh, while engaging with the scholarly articles of this novel, it helped me appreciate interdisciplinary approaches, especially how literary theory, psychoanalysis, and cognitive studies complement each other. The concept of memory hacking made me reflect on the ethical responsibility involved in narrating another person's suffering. I realized how small details such as crosswords or everyday habits can reveal larger philosophical ideas within a text. and the novel left me with the unresolved questions, like how should critics balance empathy with critical distance when a narrator admits unreliability, and what responsibilities do readers have to come over it. So this was from my side. Now I would like to invite Radhik Bavadia for further information.
So I'm going to deal with the article parts, in which first one is the mourning and melancholy in Julian Barnes' levels of life and the only story. So uh, Antakyu, this is a Turkish name, so very hard to pronounce that. Antakyu Yulu reads Barnes' later fiction as a elegiac centered on edge narrators whose tone converts love into ongoing mourning, and grief is reframed as a ethical fidelity rather than pathology, while the I, you, and he retreat functions as emotional curations and narrative survival strategy that preserves memory and moderates pain. Now, symbolism of crossword puzzles, order, intellect, and existential respite in Julian Barnes' The Only Story. So, here Dilip sir interprets crosswords as metaphors for the human drive to impose order on chaos, and John's cheating signals defiant skepticism toward perfect solutions, while specific answers carry ironic triangular meanings, and the pastime offers a fragile existential respite, a brief cognitive shelter that cannot fully mend deeper emotional wounds. So next one is Julian Barnes' The Only Story, within and beyond the author's idiosyncrasies. So here Sotsky situates The Only Story as a novel of recollection, where imperfect memory and incomplete documentation produce provisional histories. And the tripartite of I, you, and he structure dramatizes alienation and self-correction, showing Barnes both continuing and innovating his persistent engagement with unreliable ethical remembering. So next one is a postmodern absurdist critique of Julian Barnes' The Only Story. So these all critics cast the novel in postmodern absurdist terms. Characters confront a gap between aspiration and reality, producing boredom, alienation, and meaninglessness. And Paul and Susan's collapse exemplifies the dissonance of absolute desire and ordinary contingency, with fatigue sometimes permitting reflection, but often intensifying paralysis. Next one is a reconstructed memory of love in Julian Barnes' The Only Story. So, using Lacanian and Kristeva frames, this study argues Paul's love is an imaginary relation that cannot found a sustainable shared life. And memory operates strategically across the novel's three parts, repeatedly reconstructing meaning as the narrator exhibits suppressed self-realization rather than indulging mere nostalgia. Then remembering, forgetting in the novel of The Only Story by Julian Barnes. So here Tiwari and Burman presents memory as active and malleable. It selects, protects, and sometimes erases to preserve the self. Forgetting functions as a coping, but leaves scar tissue. And the novel's non-linear form enacts this psychology and history emerges only where imperfect recollection meets inadequate records. And memory hacking, remembering storytelling, unreliable narrations in Julian Barnes, The Sense of an Ending, and The Only Story. So here Stang reads narrational unreliability through cognitive science, verbalizing memory reshapes experience, creating memory hacking, and rosy retrospection. So the remembering self edits peak and endings, producing a coherent narrative at the expense of a continuous experience. And Paul's unreliability thus reveals a reconstructive memory process rather than a deliberate deception. So here is the concluding part that across all the readings, the only story links love with suffering and treats memory as a reconstructive, making narrative and ethical labor that neither fully redeems nor explains. And interdisciplinary methods like psychoanalysis, cognitive science, absurdism illuminate facets of desire, distortion, and estrangement, while form and voice enact moral complexity without consolation. Here are my learning outcomes that overall emotional arc, I moved from intellectual curiosity to profound empathy, and final to sober ethical vigilance about love and memory. So, and my assumptions changed. I no longer accept romantic heroes very uncritically. Instead, I interrogate the moral and social cost of devotion. And practical implications are I will incorporate interdisciplinary tools like psychoanalysis and cognitive science into literary analysis, and emphasize narrative ethics in seminars. So these methods produce richer readings and very clearer classroom discussions, and they also help me formulate better exam and essay questions. Then ongoing challenges and research direction. So how to ethically read traumatic lives, and how narrative form enacts responsibility, and whether storytelling can ever be fully reparative. So these open questions motivate future projects and keep the text alive. Here are the literature review slides in tabular format. Here are the references. Okay, thank you everyone.
Okay, so we had a quite a good presentation, and it was quite interesting to see that good graphics were used in all the slides to bring home the point, and quite well the generative AI graphics were used to symbolically represent the ideas. And it also summarized the entire text from character study to thematic study, and some articles which are written on this particular text. So far as the learning outcome is concerned, still the things are not drafted the way we want it to be. It has to be still like what way it can be personalized in your own life, or how you can write. So let me ask questions one by one to all the presenters. So you can come there near the screen and reply by standing there in that camera focus. So first of all, let me start with the first presenter, Jai. Yes, Jai. So in your learning outcome, you said that I felt stronger empathy for characters bound by social rituals. Context matters to character choice. So now, what you need to connect or how you need to say is something like, do you feel like did you misjudged anybody in real life situation depending upon social ritual, or how do you see the context of the people before judging the people? Did you get the question? Or shall I
Sir, could you
repeat?
please ask again?
Okay. So the question is, you have said in the learning outcome, I felt stronger empathy for characters bound by social rituals. And in the bracket, you use the word like suburb, marriage. Yes. Context matters. So you mean to say that we need to see the context before judging the character. So how do you see that? Do you have any life experience where you can connect this with that? Or while reading the novel, what way you might have misjudged, and so you learned from that that I should not do that. That is how we see the learning outcome. Yes? We have misjudged, and then we say that, well, this is a mistake. I should not keep. I should see the context in the mind before judging them. You also wrote that I moved from thinking of the novel as a love story to reading it as a study of responsibility and memory. So, how do you justify that?
Sir, I don't know any real life experience, but uh, if we think it is in our eyes that how should we see society, that there is no any bad things like if we do living relationship or we marriage with anyone, this is not bad.
No, but why can't it be bad? Like these all group members, and the other students also will study the novel. Now, this novel has a very awkward plot. One 19 years old boy, Paul Roberts, is falling in love with already married women having two daughters. Now, why is it not problematic? It will be highly problematic. How can you take a side of
Our
a?
eyes, sir.
Huh, hmm?
it
Yes.
it is in his context. It cannot, it cannot be bad. That's why he can marry like
Okay, but what about she? She is married. She has two daughters, husband, and she is not going for divorce and have a love affair. Can you tolerate such a woman? Or like, if I am that woman, can I see myself as a good woman? So the context. So when we see context, that in this context I will pardon. But to what extent can I pardon? Well, I would say that I can't pardon such a woman. Well, women should divorce the husband and then can have a relation with another man. But that is not happening in the story. No? So if you see that these are the real people around us, and I see them in a context, then also how can I accept this character? So you have to be honest with our own feelings. Honestly, we try to see that how would I look at this case. Okay, think of that. Second presenter, second one was Tanvi. Yes, Tanvi, you can come here. And you have written in learning outcome that I now attend more closely to how memory reshapes event. I now attend more closely to how memory reshapes events. So after reading this, preparing this PPT within last 3-4 days, do you think that you have started looking very closely at your memory? And have you seen that somewhere you need to check your memory?
I have no any personal experience, but when I was studied a novel and about characters, I felt that memories are important, because I heard lots of things about love, and many things connected with love through some peoples and memes or uh, uh, in the story, Julian Barnes told about people's relationships relationships, and he showed that memory affected uh, and how the story turns, just like that. I felt that if we remember something that happened in past with us, it i- it is very if it is a very bad, or our bad, uh, then certainly in when we sleep and re, uh, 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 sir, I'm not able to give answer in proper
No, okay,
English
okay. So
language.
fine.
So
Like you see how you need to think. Like if you remember anything which is traumatic or something problematic from your school days, from your home experience, and now you think I need to revisit that memory the way I have remembered that event. Because normally we remember the events in such a manner that we do self pity, we put ourselves in a positive side, and we always see that it was a fault of other people. So if I have that memory of school days or a family childhood, wherein I think I need to revisit that memory, I might have remembered that event in a wrong manner. That is how you need to connect after reading the novel to talk about the narrative or memory novel.
yes, sir, that type of events, some school days, and family. In every family, some peoples are judging very badly, and in my case, my babs, and yes, they, because I am live here very freely. My parents give me freedom, so they are very they use very bad words for me, and when I remember when I I remember that words, I feel like how they are judging me like this, and આમ કહેવાય કે એ લોકોને જેલસી થાય, મારા પેરેન્ટ્સ મને આટલી બધી ફ્રીડમ આપે છે,
No,
તો એમને.
speak in English because it is recorded, will be live.
Yes,
If you
sir.
speak in Gujarati, they will understand what you are saying.
Yes, yes, sir. So so sir, the memory, I think the memory affected very badly to us. So this was
Okay,
from
so
my
for
side.
example, right now at this moment, you remember that in a particular manner. Maybe after 10 years, you will revisit this and you may find that, well, they were true also, they were right also. You never know. That is what this novel tries to tell. That
Yes.
today I believe that this is right, this is wrong, this people say this, those people they say that, and I think this is how it should be seen. But maybe after 10 years, 20 years, whatever I think today, that memory may be reshaped also, or maybe I become like those people with the other family members and I also start behaving like that. Or will I not behave like that with the other family member? So that way, it's a long journey from a 19-year-old boy, Paul Roberts. He is now a 70 years old fellow, and he is visiting back. So, the age group of the class will be around 20 to 24 years. Imagine after 50 years, how do you look at all this thing that you need to see there. Okay? So you also said that about caregiving situations. I will be more cautious in judging caregiving situations. So have you already judged any such situations, and now you think you should be careful?
No, sir. Now I would think that about care and judgment.
So this novel, when we look at this novel where Paul Roberts is working as a caregiver in his old age, uh, as a postmodernist, they also try to give this idea that if you have a guilty consciousness or there is a guilt that is haunting you, then you would like to give care to other people because you want to do a kind of a malampati of your own soul. So those who are caregivers, they might have done damage to somebody also. Caregiving people might not be good people, so they are caregivers. They might have already damaged somebody, and as a kind of self-consolation, they have to do a good to other people. That also is a possible reading of Paul Roberts' character that we can see from here. Okay, the next one, the third presenter was Bhumi. And you said in your learning outcome that shifting voices made me more aware of dissociation as a coping strategy. And you also said grammar became psychological data. Now, I was not able to understand this. Grammar became psychological data. So, what is this?
Sir, in this we can find that how change like first narrator to second narrator to third narrator. So Paul Robert describe his life from a young age to old age. So it's matter and psychological growth we can find in the Susan as well, like how Susan felt trauma and depression and starting drinking and everything.
But still, grammar, instead, it is not as such a question of grammar, but it is about narrative strategy. First person narration, second person, and third person narration. So, in all the three parts, the narrator is changing, shifting.
Yes.
This is for all other students also, that when you will study, will come to this, that how that can be used here. But there is a first person, then second, and then third person narration. So you said that you became more aware of dissociation as a coping strategy. So what is this? How you became aware of this? And you have to see this how in personal life or real life situations this can help you.
Sir, personally, it is very difficult novel to grasp all the things. And in that presentation, I was also skipped this particular line, and I share my personal outcome in that presentation. So
Now, what is that? Can you repeat that? Your personal outcome?
yes, I said that how this Paul in the old age he feel about his memories and ethical and everything, and he wants to rebuild his life, and leave Suzanne and her family and everything, and he wants to rebuild his life. So then in the old age he also felt and we can say remember his past and relationship with Susan, that he described that that time was an important time in his life. So it's
Okay, you also said that, okay, you said that I felt a new curiosity about narrative reliability and the reader's role in judging testimony. So what role as a reader you see in judging testimony?
um, we can find that how Paul look at his point of view in the novel, and how Julian Barnes represent Robert Paul in a young age to old age, and uh, uh, in the young age he had to attraction or attachment with the old woman. So in that case we can judge the characters that we find that the love or relationship between the it can be one boy or one girl, young girl, but in that novel we can find that relationship between the young boy and old woman, so we can judge these characters.
So you have to say that the characters are giving a testimony here. Like Paul is giving a testimony that this happened in his life, and he tries to tell that, well, it's a 70-year-old man
Yes.
telling a story. We are in the
Yes.
memory of a very old man, and he takes us back into his teenage and says that in the 19th year, so and so kind of things happened, and he fall in love. And he says that, well, I was so proud that I was in love. I was like flaunting it for the friends, for other people, and that, like, well, I have a beloved. That was that idea. And then he regrets that. He is not happy with that, because that
Yes.
story was not a successful love story. The very
Yes.
situation was very awkward, where instead of love, responsibility was much more
Yes.
required to understand the very idea of love. But he was not able to understand, because he was too young at that time to think of the responsibility in relationship. He just wanted to flaunt that I have a beloved, and he was happy about that, because
Yeah.
people are mesmerized by love stories in the
Yes.
traditional classical love stories, and they want to see that, well, I am also now somebody who has a beloved. That testimony he gives, and he is regretting about that particular point. So, as a reader, how do we judge this entire scene or his testimony at that point? Then at a middle age, he gives a testimony, again tells that after several years, last time I met Susan, she was in hospital. She has almost gone mad during that time. So that also he is trying to refer to this. Yes. So in that, how as a reader, what is the reader's role in reading this testimony of a narrator?
Sir, as I mentioned that that Paul describe his story, and you as you said that in between he don't like that he rather the lover he become a caretaker, and lots of responsibilities and worries about Susan and everything, and then lastly he tired all of the things, and he leave the Susan and her family, and then he starting a new life for himself, and this kind of first to last we can find that
Okay, fine. Okay. The next one is Krupali. Yes, Krupali. You said in learning outcome that the book's tone and devices made me emotionally uncomfortable in productive ways. So, how do you become emotionally uncomfortable?
Yes, sir. So, in the story, we find that the Paul, who in this type of relationship, he also suffers, and this Susan also suffers. So, rather than suffering, they have to don't love each other in that way. So, this is make us emotionally uncomfortable, that they do not have to having this kind of relationship, which affect also other people's in their lives, like Clara and Martha.
Hmm. You also said that I felt personally implicated in Paul's judgments. So, how you felt that being implicated in Paul's judgment?
Yes, sir. So at the point where when Susan is not good and he have to become her caretaker. So at that time, I felt like that.
Hmm. Okay. Okay, fine. The next one is Sagar. So, Sagar, you in the learning outcome said that reading themes of love and suffering made me revisit personal beliefs about romantic sacrifice and its limits. So, how do you explain that?
Sir, I have no personal experience, but I am see many times people in many time I see like one of my friend he was feel painful in love, but he was always give emotionally. Like he was many times love become a burden, but he always give emotionally. Like message come after like a message come in 12 o'clock, but he was waiting to 8 o'clock to see message is coming or not. That's it, sir.
You also said that I experience surprise and sadness at how love's transformation into burden is often gradual and socially mediated. Love transforming into a burden is often gradual, slowly, steadily, and socially mediated. So, how you see this? How you experience this?
Sir, in real life, like people talking about relations, uh, they are starting in a feel very emotional, but sometime after they feel a burden, and then after they are society talking about the love, and people judging their love.
You said in the practical change, you have written in the learning outcome a practical change, and then you talk that I will frame a seminar question. But it is not about whether you will make a seminar question or this. We want to see as a learning outcome in personal life how it shapes us, how when we read a story, how it shapes us. So, like as if you can say from the initial reaction that you gave that perhaps I will never fall in love with anybody. This story teaches me a lesson that it is better to stay away from the lafda of love. If you want to be happy, then that never be into the trap of this love. Then you can say, well, this is my personal learning outcome. That I think this is a more a story of suffering than of a love. The classical stories of love tend to tell people that there is beauty in love, there is happiness in love. But this is a postmodern novel. The postmodern characteristics tries to break that narrative that people are happy in love. It tries to say that people suffer in love. The more you suffer, the more you are in love. So ultimately, all love stories are the stories of suffering. Are people ready to suffer? And suffering requires responsibility. So those people who say that, well, it is better to stay away from love, they are not ready to take responsibility also. The responsibility of relationship, that also can be read when people say that it's better stay away from love, better stay away from responsibility, because it will lead to suffering also. Okay, the next one is Parthiv. Yes, Parthiv, you said in your learning outcome that I felt both unsettled and intellectually stimulated. So, how do you say that? You felt unsettled and also intellectually stimulated.
Sir, in a story, also he mentioned this love is the not a stable emotion, but is the uh, it is the change condition through the in a long time is the different emotionally attention and experience also is the different, and it the long time is also change the personal emotion in a an observation with the connection of love. Yes. This also.
Okay, then you said that the debates about agency led me reconsider responsibility as relational rather than solely individual. How do you
Sir,
explain this? Responsibility as a relational rather than individual.
sorry, also is the love and also is the relationship and also traumatic experience are not only the connected also two or one person, but also is the connective many person in the society with the emotion over the experiences.
You also said that symbols and motifs like crosswords, tennis, they all became lenses to see the ethics around us, micro scenes to macro ethics there. Do you see any other such things? So like if you are playing crosswords, then you can connect with crosswords, or if you are playing tennis or anything, any other thing instead of tennis or crosswords, any other thing, and how you read symbol or motif into that, uh, which is coming out from the reading of this novel.
Sir, is the symbol also connected with the and give a learning to the about the connected with the storyline and the uh, personal feeling also, sir.
But any such things are there in your personal life? Like crossword is a leisure game where people are free to pass the time. They do crosswords. Any other thing that you would be doing and try to read it symbolically?
Hmm. No, sir, is not perfectly I understood about the symbolically, but is the uh, I see this in the novel in only story also.
Mhm. Okay, fine. So you need to look more personally at the things. Okay, and then Smriti, you said in the learning outcome that I felt intellectually excited by the memory hacking idea. So how do you see that memory hacking idea and how intellectually excited you feel?
As I try to write some poems and some things by myself, at that time I feel my memory affecting the ideas, the particular events, and the when I recall it, it affects the both things gets different while writing and while recalling, or the exact event which I am recalling or remembering. So this was the idea by sang. And when I read it, I felt that this also happens to me while I try to write or recall the such incidents. So the memory hacking becomes my personal interest in that particular thing.
Okay, the memory hacking idea came by several other presenters also in the thematic reading. Uh, so here we have to see that this hacking is done by self. It is not the other person doing the hacking, but the self. So my memory is my personal history, and it is known to me only, and I distort it. I do distortion with the memory, and that is how I hack the memory. So that we have to keep in mind that here the memory hacking happens at a very personal level, and an individual is doing that. You have also said that crosswords are seen as existential respite, and John's character is cheating at crosswords. So these small acts reveal large philosophies. So how do you see that, or any other thing alongside crosswords that is in your life, and you are connecting it with large philosophies?
So while learning literature, as we have seen in also in the birthday party by Pinter, that small things and small symbols gives us the large philosophies and psychological ideas about the characters, or analyzing people, or some other events, etc. So these Joanne's characters cheating on crosswords is a bit confusing to me, in the sense that the character of her is drafted as moral and orderly, eh, value is she that she values order and other things in life. But when it comes to the crossword puzzles and other things, it she sees she cheating in it, in the sense that she takes help of other, and something like that. With that, I felt that it is a little bit contrasting to her character, which is uh, uh, explained in the novel, in the other things of life. That's why I have thought that.
Okay, fine. The next presenter was Rajdeep, the last one. This okay, and you mentioned that my assumptions changed in your learning outcome. Say, I no longer accept romantic heroics uncritically. Instead, I interrogate the moral and social cost of devotion. So, how do you see this?
Okay, sir. So romantic heroic means like in today's time we are seeing uh, many babas or other kind of traps which treats themselves as a heroic characters, but people do not see from the eyes of critically, like as we have seen today, as you have saw in a newspaper, like people do not see the whole context of any event or any persons. So it can lead to many, like what we say, issues or anything else. So if we applied the moral causes or the societal effects of that thing, so in personally we can judge that how socially it will affect or it will defect to the society.
But you said about romantic heroics. So it is more about the idea of love that you say you interrogate with moral and social cost of devotion. So devotion in love rather than in the religious matters. Because the
Okay,
story
so
is contextualized in that aspect rather than the religious aspect.
so right now we also found the like hyper context of love, like we have also seen in the movie Sanyara that how people more romanticize the context of love and make it more devotional. So in that context, like I can refer to that.
Okay, fine. Okay, so I hope the other presenters also got an idea that how you are supposed to write learning outcome. And this is what we want to see in your digital portfolio, that how literature shaped me. So try to bring it at a personal level and try to see that what is the actual personal change that do you feel after reading a literary text, its themes or its characters also. Okay? Okay, for this learning of this novel, we have prepared a flipped learning activity. I have assigned the task in Google Classroom. You will read the thorough steps, what you are supposed to do. A short videos you have to watch, and then you have to do some activity based on that. So tomorrow you can bring headphones. So when you sit in the lab, you can watch the videos and prepare your notes also. Tomorrow our class will be in the lab. I will come in the lab and we will discuss some instructions, and then you will carry on with the activities. Okay? We end our live stream here now.